Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to talk to you about a transformative power that lies within us all, a force that can shape our lives in ways we cannot yet fully comprehend. It's a force that has the ability to heal, to create, and to transform every aspect of our existence. It's the power of faith, but not just any kind of faith. I'm talking about the faith that opens the door to the divine, the kind of faith that lets God into your life and allows you to experience miracles you never thought possible. You see, most of us walk through life bound by the limitations of our physical senses. We see the world as it appears in front of us, and we believe that this is all there is. But here's the thing, we are much more than what we can see and touch. We are beings of energy, of consciousness, and of infinite potential. And when we align ourselves with that potential, when we allow ourselves to truly believe that something greater is at work, we unlock the possibility of miracles. What happens when you allow God into your life isn't just about waiting for something to change from the outside. It's not about asking for divine intervention, like a wish being granted from a genie. No, it's much deeper than that. It's about a shift in your awareness. It's about an internal transformation that activates something extraordinary within you. When you truly let God in, you move beyond the constraints of your current reality and into a space where your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs have the power to shape the world around you. And here's where the miracle happens. It's in that moment of surrender. When you let go of the need to control every detail of your life and simply allow faith to guide you, you open the floodgates to infinite possibility. Your body, your mind, and your spirit begin to align with the divine energy that is already within you. You begin to experience life not just as it appears, but as it truly is, full of boundless potential and wonder. Imagine for a moment that you are no longer bound by the beliefs that limit you, the fears that hold you back, or the doubts that cloud your vision. Imagine a life where your thoughts are in perfect harmony with the divine, where your heart beats with a rhythm that aligns with the universe itself. That's what happens when you truly open yourself up to God. You begin to see the world through new eyes. The miracles that were always around you are now visible. I'm talking about more than just physical healings, though those are miraculous too. I'm talking about healing the deepest wounds of the heart, the emotional scars that have kept you stuck in patterns of fear, shame, and guilt.
When you let God in, your emotional body begins to reset.
You begin to release the weight of the past, the burdens you've carried for years, and in that space of release, you experience freedom like never before. And the power doesn't stop there. When you let God into your life, you begin to tap into a deeper level of creativity, and you become an open channel for inspiration, for new ideas, and for breakthroughs in ways that you never thought possible. Your relationships, your work, your health, your entire existence begins to reflect the divine order that flows from within you. You start to attract the very things you need, the people who align with your purpose, and the opportunities that will propel you forward. Now, I want to be clear. This doesn't mean that life will be without challenges. It doesn't mean that you'll never face hardships. But what it does mean is that you will have the strength, the resilience, and the clarity to navigate those challenges in ways that you never could before. When you let God in, you access a source of power that transcends anything the world can throw at you. So how do you let God in? It begins with belief, a belief so powerful that it changes the way you see everything. It requires you to quiet the noise of the world, to turn inward, and to acknowledge that there is a force greater than you at work. It requires trust. Trust that you are not alone. Trust that your life has a higher purpose. Trust that miracles are not just for other people. They are for you too. Start by opening your heart. Quiet your mind. Feel the presence of God in the space around you. Let go of the need to control and simply allow yourself to be. Let your thoughts be infused with love, with gratitude, with a sense of peace that transcends everything. And as you do, watch as the world around you begins to shift. Watch as you start to experience miracles, small at first, then bigger ones, until you realize that the life you've always dreamed of is already unfolding before your eyes. In conclusion, let me remind you, miracles are not reserved for a select few. They are the natural outcome of a life aligned with faith, trust, and the divine. When you let God into your life, you are opening the door to a future beyond your wildest dreams. Your life becomes a living testimony of the miracles that happen when we choose to live in alignment with the divine. So let God in. Experience life-changing miracles through faith and watch as your world transforms. Faith is the gateway to unlocking the divine potential that resides within each of us. It is through faith that we begin to recognize the immense power we hold inside, a power that goes beyond the limitations of the physical world. When we cultivate faith, we open ourselves to a connection with something greater, a force that can guide, inspire, and transform every aspect of our lives. This divine potential isn't something external we must seek out. It exists within us, waiting to be activated by our belief. Faith is not merely about hoping for an outcome or waiting for miracles to occur. It's a deep knowing that there is an underlying force at work that can bring about change and healing. This belief is what connects us to the limitless possibilities of the universe, enabling us to move beyond our current circumstances and limitations. Faith is a powerful energy that directs our thoughts, emotions, and actions, guiding us toward the manifestation of our highest potential. When we tap into this inner divine potential, we begin to see the world through a new lens. We start to realize that we are not bound by the past or restricted by our current circumstances. Instead, we are empowered to create, to heal, and to transform. Through faith, we align ourselves with the energy of the universe, and it is this alignment that allows us to transcend our perceived limitations and step into a realm of infinite possibilities. The more we nurture and strengthen our faith, the more we unlock the power that resides within us. We become attuned to the subtle signs and guidance that lead us toward our true purpose. Faith becomes the key that opens the door to the extraordinary, allowing us to experience life in its fullest and most miraculous form. Miracles occur when we align ourselves with a higher power, transcending the limits of what we can see or comprehend with our physical senses. The essence of a miracle is the shift in perspective that happens when we open ourselves to the divine energy that flows through the universe. When we operate solely within the confines of logic, reason, and our immediate physical environment, we may miss the extraordinary potential that lies just beyond our awareness. It's when we let go of our control and trust in something greater that miracles begin to manifest. The alignment with a higher power involves more than just belief in something external. It's about an internal shift that allows us to access the limitless possibilities of the universe. By trusting in the divine order, we become conduits for miracles to flow into our lives. This trust connects us to the unseen forces at play in the world. Forces that can bring healing, restoration, and transformation in ways we could never imagine with our limited perception. When we surrender to this higher power, we step outside of the boundaries of our current reality and enter a space where anything is possible. Miracles are not bound by time, space, or material constraints. They are the natural result of faith in a power that exists beyond the physical realm. When we align our thoughts, emotions, and intentions with this divine source, we open ourselves to experiences that defy logic and expectation. The laws of nature, which we believe are fixed, become malleable when we operate from a place of true alignment with the divine. In this space, we experience miracles not as rare exceptions, but as natural outcomes of our connection to a higher power. Surrendering control is one of the most profound steps we can take toward unlocking the miraculous in our lives. We often try to control every aspect of our reality, our environment, our relationships, our health, and even our thoughts, believing that in doing so, we can create the life we desire. However, this constant striving for control keeps us anchored in a state of tension and resistance, limiting our ability to experience true transformation. When we let go of the need to control, we open ourselves up to a flow of divine energy that has the power to guide us in ways we cannot anticipate. By surrendering, we aren't giving up or relinquishing our responsibility. Instead, we are acknowledging that there is a force greater than ourselves that can orchestrate the perfect outcomes for our lives. This kind of surrender is not about passivity. It's an act of trust that everything is unfolding as it should, even if it doesn't align with our immediate desires or expectations. When we release the need to control, we create space for the miraculous to unfold, things that we could never have planned or predicted. The act of surrendering involves deep trust both in ourselves and in the divine. It requires a shift from a mindset of fear and scarcity to one of faith and abundance. When we allow ourselves to trust in the flow of life and let go of rigid expectations, we begin to experience a new kind of freedom. This freedom opens the door for divine wisdom, creativity, and opportunities to flow into our lives in ways that would have been impossible when we were trying to control every outcome. Through surrender, we tap into a power that transcends our individual limitations and connects us to the miraculous. True transformation begins with an internal shift in awareness. Often we believe that change must come from external circumstances or events, thinking that when things outside of us change, we will be different, happier, or more fulfilled. However, the most profound and lasting transformation occurs when we adjust the way we see and interact with the world. Our perception shapes our reality, and when we change the lens through which we view ourselves, our lives, and our potential, we begin to experience a new kind of freedom and possibility. This shift in awareness involves going beyond the surface-level realities we've always known. It's about understanding that our thoughts, beliefs, and emotions are not fixed, but are fluid and capable of being reshaped. When we change the way we perceive ourselves, we break free from the limitations we've placed on our own growth. Instead of seeing ourselves as defined by past mistakes, negative experiences, or external circumstances, we start to recognize the deeper truths of who we are, beings of infinite potential, capable of experiencing greatness. Transformation begins when we embrace the idea that we are not victims of our environment or circumstances, but creators of our reality. This awareness shift requires us to take responsibility for our thoughts and feelings, understanding that our internal state is the key to unlocking external change. By choosing to see the world through the lens of possibility, gratitude, and faith, we open ourselves up to a new reality, one where we are no longer bound by fear, doubt, or past conditions. As we elevate our awareness, we activate a power within us that leads to lasting transformation and opens the door to the miraculous. Letting God in is not just a theoretical or spiritual idea. It's a deep personal experience that has the power to heal emotional wounds that we may not even realize are holding us back. Throughout our lives, we accumulate emotional scars from past experiences, loss, betrayal, hurt, and disappointment that shape how we interact with the world. These wounds can manifest in various ways, in relationships, in our self-esteem, in our decision-making, and even in our physical health. They keep us stuck in patterns of fear, shame, guilt, and anger, preventing us from fully stepping into the lives we were meant to live. When we open ourselves to the divine, we allow a higher source to touch the deepest parts of our being, bringing healing where it's most needed. This healing is not just about alleviating pain. It's about restoring us to a state of wholeness and peace. Letting God in means giving permission to the divine to work within us to address the emotional wounds and memories that have shaped us and to replace them with love, forgiveness, and understanding. This process is not immediate, nor is it always easy, but it's powerful. As we invite God into our hearts and minds, we begin to release the old limiting beliefs that have kept us in emotional bondage. The fears that once controlled us begin to dissolve, replaced by a sense of inner peace and trust. We start to forgive ourselves and others, breaking free from the weight of resentment and guilt that has burdened us for so long. Letting God in is an invitation for transformation, not just in our outer circumstances, but within the deepest parts of our emotional and spiritual selves. As we heal from the inside out, we become open to experiencing life in a completely new, liberated way. Faith harmonizes our thoughts, emotions, and actions with the divine, creating an alignment that allows us to tap into a greater source of power. When our minds are filled with doubt and fear, or when our emotions are out of balance, we find ourselves disconnected from the higher potential that resides within us. This disconnection creates friction, and it is in this state of disharmony that we often struggle to make progress or experience peace. But when we nurture and strengthen our faith, we begin to realign ourselves with the energy of the universe, and this alignment transforms the way we experience life. Faith is the bridge that connects our inner world to the divine. It is the channel through which we can harmonize our mental, emotional, and spiritual states with a higher power. When we believe in something greater than ourselves, our thoughts begin to shift from limitation to possibility, from fear to trust, from scarcity to abundance. Our emotions become more centered and balanced as we allow the divine presence to flow through us. We move from a place of reacting to life based on fear, stress, or insecurity to responding from a place of love, clarity, and strength. As our thoughts, emotions, and actions align with the divine, we begin to feel a sense of peace and purpose that transcends the challenges we face. We stop feeling like victims of circumstance and begin to see ourselves as co-creators of our reality, empowered by the infinite energy that flows through us. This alignment doesn't just bring personal peace, but it also leads to greater creativity, insight, and the ability to manifest the things we need in our lives. Through faith, we tap into a deeper flow, allowing the divine to guide us and work through us in powerful, transformative ways. Opening yourself to God brings an immense surge of creativity, inspiration, and breakthroughs that you may never have thought possible. Often, we feel stuck or limited in our ability to create or innovate because we rely solely on our own understanding or resources. When we invite the divine into our lives, we open ourselves to an infinite wellspring of possibilities. This spiritual connection allows us to transcend our own limitations and tap into a higher source of wisdom and creativity that flows effortlessly through us. The very essence of creativity itself is rooted in divine inspiration. And when we align ourselves with that source, we are empowered to bring forth ideas and solutions that might have once seemed out of reach. The act of letting God in doesn't just enrich our spiritual lives, it has practical, real-world applications as well. In our work, our relationships, and in every area where we seek to create or build, we find that divine guidance leads us toward breakthroughs that are often beyond our current understanding. This can manifest as a sudden insight, a new perspective, or an inspired idea that propels us forward in ways we couldn't have predicted. By opening ourselves to God's influence, we move from a limited human perspective to one that is infused with divine creativity. This creative power goes beyond artistic expression. It's about finding solutions to problems, overcoming challenges, and innovating in ways that make a difference in the world around us. We begin to view obstacles as opportunities, and instead of being paralyzed by fear or doubt, we respond with clarity, confidence, and ingenuity. The divine inspiration that flows when we open ourselves to God helps us align our actions with our true purpose, guiding us toward meaningful achievements and breakthroughs. When we let God into our lives, we gain access to a source of strength and clarity that allows us to navigate challenges with resilience and grace. Life is full of obstacles, whether they are personal, relational, or external, and often it's easy to feel overwhelmed or defeated by them. But when we align ourselves with the divine, we tap into an inner power that helps us face even the toughest situations with courage and understanding. This strength doesn't come from a place of force or resistance, but from a deep trust in the divine flow of life and the understanding that we are not alone in our struggles. With God in our lives, we no longer see challenges as insurmountable barriers. Instead, we see them as opportunities for growth and transformation. We are able to approach life's difficulties from a place of peace, knowing that we have the guidance, wisdom, and support needed to navigate. This divine clarity allows us to make better decisions, avoid unnecessary stress, and move forward with confidence, even when the path seems unclear. The resilience we gain through this connection enables us to stay grounded no matter the circumstances. Instead of being swept away by negative emotions, fears, or doubts, we are able to stay centered, knowing that we have the inner fortitude to handle whatever comes our way. This sense of divine clarity and strength doesn't just help us endure life's challenges. It empowers us to rise above them and become stronger in the process. We learn to trust in the divine timing of our lives, embracing the process rather than resisting it, and ultimately finding a sense of peace in the midst of adversity. Through this divine connection, we are able to navigate life with a strength that is greater than anything we could muster on our own.